Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to come up with some dinners this week using what I have in the freezer or freezers, because I have two refrigerators with freezers, and I also have a chest freezer and an upright freezer. As you can see, I've got lots of food that I need to use up, and my freezers are mostly where food goes to hide when I don't know what to do with it. But this week, I'm going to show you what I made for dinner from the freezer, and I'm also going to try and make these dinners stretch and use leftovers as well. You know how it is at these grocery prices. I have to stick with a really tight budget, so I'm going to try and make my food go as far as I can. So I hope y'all will enjoy the video and get some inspiration to get your freezers cleaned out and use what you have on hand. And this video is a collaboration with my sweet friend Meaghan from Meaghan Story. I know you'll love her and her channel. She does cooking videos, grocery hauls, cleaning videos, just a little bit of everything, and I know you'll love her channel. So after you watch my video, go check out her channel and like and subscribe, and I'll let her introduce herself and then we'll get started on the meals this week.
Hi everybody, and welcome to Meaghan's Story. I'm Meaghan, and on my channel you will find lots of what's for dinner videos and tons of crazy massive grocery hauls, and here we have so much fun. I hope you come by my channel and see what we have going on over here, and subscribe if you enjoy this kind of content.
And thank you so much, Andrea.
Let your light shine. Bye.
Alright, so the first meal I made some mashed potatoes, and I defrosted a couple packs of hamburger and made a meatloaf, which you've got to try this recipe. I'll have it linked down below. And I opened up just some corn and heated that up with some butter. And I did the next night take those mashed potatoes and put some cream cheese in there. This is our 35th anniversary dinner, and I cooked that at home, so I'm trying to elevate it a little bit. And I also took a couple strip steaks from the freezer, and I had been defrosting those for a couple days. I cut up an onion and some mushrooms that I had in the fridge, and I'm just sauteing those in some butter. Now I'm going to start on some cream spinach. I've just got some butter in there and some garlic powder, and I'll just stir that around. And I also added some flour, but I don't think I showed that to you on camera. And then I went ahead and added some milk, just enough to get it the right thickness. I don't like it really thick, so I kind of put a little bit more milk in there. You could also use cream or even canned milk if you'd like. And I've just got some fresh spinach in the bag, and I'm just going to add that to it until it wilts down. And I don't know about y'all, but this is the most wasted thing in my house. It seems like every time I buy it, it just sits in the fridge until I remember it, and then it's just all slimy, and then I gotta end up putting it in my compost pile. But I need to make this more often. This was delicious and really easy to put together, and just the perfect thing to go with a steak. Then I just added some Parmesan cheese, and it was done. And I had my steak sitting out for a couple of hours to come to room temperature. Now I've got my cast iron skillet hot, so I'm just gonna put that in there and brown them on both sides. I like mine medium rare. I don't like them too raw, but I don't like them too done either. So I'm gonna brown them on the stove, and then I'll put them in the oven and let them cook the rest of the way. Okay, so here's what we had on our anniversary dinner. We had 2 steaks. I had the onions and the mushrooms. I just can't eat it without steak without that. And then I made a salad. I have those mashed potatoes with some butter. There's that creamed spinach. It was so good. I made some blue cheese and some ranch. And I made some chocolate cupcakes, and I just put some vanilla frosting on them. And I tried my hand at making these strawberries, but I did not do a great job. I melted some white chocolate and put it on the strawberries, and just took a little bit of that sugar on there. They were really good, but they weren't the most attractive. For this dinner, I was going to heat up the meatloaf, but I wanted some other kind of potato dish besides the mashed potatoes. So I found this recipe. You mix up butter and Parmesan cheese, and you lay the potatoes on top of it. And they use the sliced potato, or the little small potatoes that you cut in half, but I didn't have any of those, so I just used some regular potatoes and cut them into chunks. So that's just butter and Parmesan cheese, and now I'm going to add some garlic powder and onion powder to it. I'm also going to add some parsley. But you just mix that together and you put it at the on the top of a sheet tray, and then you put the potatoes on top. I had been seeing this recipe all over the internet, all over Facebook and Pinterest and TikTok, so I really wanted to make it, and it did not disappoint. It was so good. And then I just took some of my canned green beans and I rinsed them off really good, and I put them in the skillet and heated them up, and then I topped them with some Parmesan cheese, salt, pepper, and garlic powder. They were so good. So then I just heated up the meatloaf from the other night. We had some leftover mashed potatoes and that cream spinach that we had before, and the green beans and those potatoes. And look how golden brown they are on the bottom. Oh my goodness, y'all. That is the money shot right there. Those are delicious. You've got to try it. So we had the leftovers, but they didn't really taste like leftovers because I made a couple different dishes, and I also just used some things that we had the other night, and this was another delicious meal out of the freezer. Okay, for this meal I had some pork chops that I found in the freezer. I just defrosted them, and I put some salt and pepper and garlic powder and onion powder on each one. I put a little bit of butter and avocado oil in the pan, and I'm just going to brown them on each side. And we did have green beans again this night, but these were frozen and I did them a little bit differently. But I got a lot of green beans in my freezer I needed to cook up. So what I did is just put some butter and avocado oil in there, and I'm just going to kind of stir fry them around till they get a little bit browned on there, and these were really good. Those are the thin ones, so they'll only take a minute to cook. And this was one of those nights where I didn't really feel like cooking, so I just kind of mixed up some sauce for them. I'm using the Asian wing sauce. I used about a tablespoon of that, a tablespoon of hoisin sauce, a couple splashes of rice wine vinegar, and about 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. And I just stirred that around, and I also added some garlic powder, and this was really good. I think I probably should have doubled this little sauce, but it was really good. And I just browned the pork chops on both sides, and then I just poured the sauce on there, and I just took my brush and brushed it on there and just cooked it on both sides. It doesn't take long for these pork chops. These were really thin, so they cooked in just a few minutes. But I was surprised how good this was. I will have to make up that sauce and maybe put it on like a pork loin or something. But this was delicious. I didn't have any honey because I was kind of going for that garlic honey pork chop, but I had to improvise. It was just the perfect amount of sauce. I just wish I had a little bit more to dip these pork chops in, but this was an unexpected great recipe, and especially since they were so thin, they came out of the freezer and they thawed out in just a few minutes. And again, I made some mashed potatoes with this, but these were so good. And I am so glad I grabbed those pork chops out of the freezer because this was another delicious meal that only took a few minutes, and used something else out of the freezer. Last week's video, I was using ground beef, and I was making ground beef recipes, and I made this taco skillet. Well, I made it a couple times, and I'm like, I don't want to eat it again, but I'm like, what can I do with it to make it into something different? So what I did was I heated this up. I took some tortillas and I softened them up. I rolled this one up. I don't want to roll it up on camera because I am so bad at rolling up a burrito, but I'm going to roll these up and make chimichangas. It's already got all the Mexican spices in there and peppers, and this one even has like spinach and zucchini, and I will have that recipe linked down below, or you could always just make your own ground beef mixture with whatever you like, peppers, onions, mushrooms, whatever you like, any kind of taco filling or burrito filling, because it's really all it is, a deep fried burrito. But I am going to pan fry it in the cast iron skillet. I also have some rice left over from the other day, so all I'll have to do is top it with some lettuce, tomato, sour cream, and maybe some cheese. So I am going to roll these up, and then we'll go to the next step. I do not want to roll up these things on camera. But I know everybody knows how to roll it up, but I'm very messy. Okay, I don't have a whole lot of oil in here. All you're really doing is just browning the tortilla. And that first one right there I did was terrible. That's why I didn't show it on camera. But I'm going to lay the same side down. And you want to hear that sizzle. Now, I've never made chimichangas before, so this is a first for me. Well, I think I'm just going to do 2 at a time. And I usually order chicken ones. Sometimes I don't like beef, but I know I like this filling, so I think it's going to be good. But I'm excited to try chicken ones too. But this is usually the safe bet when I go to a Mexican restaurant. And plus, it's a great way to use up the leftovers and turn it into something different. And once your pan is hot, look, it doesn't take long. I don't want to get mine too crunchy. And my stove is like either low or on blast. So I want to make sure that I don't burn them. So. And plus, when you do it on your seam side down, then the filling won't fall out. See, this one right here, it's still got little holes that I didn't close up. So hopefully it won't fall out. But I'm just going to get them browned on each side. And then I'll take these out and do the second batch. This is why I don't like rolling anything on camera. That thing comes completely off. Or completely open, so. These are done too. Just got them here on some paper towels. And that took no time at all. And these are just leftovers. They're going to taste totally different than they did the other day. Alright, y'all, I got the chimichangas. As the girl from Napoleon Dynamite would say. I've got this rice heated up. I've got lettuce and half of an avocado that I just cut up. And a couple days ago was the Super Bowl, so I had queso. So I went ahead and heated that up. And I made this queso. All I did was just melt the Velveeta, the white Velveeta. It says queso, but it's just white Velveeta. And it also has some cumin in it and some green chilies. And I just added some milk and melted it, and it's so good. So I had plenty of that left from the Super Bowl. And I'm going to add some sour cream, just like the Mexican restaurant does. Y'all, this was so good. This was hands down one of the best things I've ever had in a Mexican restaurant. I hope y'all try this recipe because it is that good. I'll have the recipe linked down below in the description box so you can make this, plus all the other recipes linked down below. And I'll also have Meaghan's channel linked, so I hope you'll go check out her channel and like and subscribe. I know you'll love her channel, and they have so much fun over there. So make sure you let her know that Ann sent you. And I hope this video inspired you to go in your freezer and try and find some things that you need to use up and make some great recipes out of them. So I hope y'all have a blessed day, and I'll see y'all in the next video.